This episode of Nicknames Movies is brought to you by my ability to read minds. I can hear what you're thinking, Karen, and I swear to God I will report you to HR. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nicknames Movies, Episode 9, for the week of June 22nd. Each and every week, we bring you all the cinema love and keep you informed about what's going on in Hollywood. I am your host, Nick, naming movies, and alongside me is my co-host, Zach. How's it going?
Oh, it's gone, man.
What a weekend, eh?
Yeah, what a day.
What
really.
a day.
What a past
4
hours.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's
trying to get the podcast.
just trying to get it to work. Hopefully, I'll be able to post it tonight on at least Patreon for the patrons to get it
to
and
patronize.
to patronize me and all
Please
my
patronize us.
and then on YouTube on Sunday, June 23rd. All right. Well, now that I've gotten that out of the way, this is Nicknames Movies, the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and give you our thoughts. Want to be a part of the cast? You can head on over to that patreon.com/nicknamesmovies, where you can donate as low as $1 and get the episodes a day early. If you don't want to donate, it's no big deal. Every episode will be live every Sunday on YouTube or your podcast service of choice. You can also head over to tpublic.com/user/nicknamesmovies to find our merch, and help represent your favorite new podcast. But let's dive into the previews. Zach, what have you been watching?
A smorgasbord, if you will. Smorgasbord.
I love that word. What kind of board of smorgs are you watching?
Well, the last Nicknames Movies episode that
Yes.
we did, you had become anime.
Yes.
And now it is I who have become anime.
Lovely.
I've actually been watching Attack on Titan.
Oh, really?
Catching
up?
I am catching up.
Nice.
I had only ever watched up through, I think, part 1 of season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I dropped off in the middle of the break.
Yeah.
And I guess I just kind of wanted to see where it was going
Yeah.
before I picked it back up. And
Yeah.
now apparently they've discovered what's in the basement. And I'm running to the finish line
Yes.
before people tell me what's in the basement.
Because the internet is a horrible, horrible dark
Yes.
place, and they love spoiling things. There's also a lot of cool stuff that happens in between then,
Yeah.
like today, and season 1, part 1 ends, you know?
Yeah.
You get-
I mean, I liked it. Part 1, when I first watched it, I didn't pick it back up. I just dropped it for no reason,
Yeah,
I guess.
well.
And then I also actually watched for the first time the original Child's Play.
Child's Play, did you?
I did, yes.
Directed by Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Not
yes,
that Tom
not
Holland.
the young one.
Not the little boy.
This Tom Holland also directed something.
I'm looking it up.
Because I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that was a movie.
Yes. Hold on. Your Wi-Fi.
David Kirshner also co-wrote, I think.
There it is.
Kirshner?
I don't want an IMDb profile. Don Mancini, who did the...
He was actually on all of the trucking movies. I did not a deep dive, but semi deep dive.
Yeah.
And apparently he just loves him some Chucky.
Yeah, he's done everything Chucky and Tales from the Crypt, and this movie called Cellar Dweller. Tom Holland also directed... he's a writer on Fright Night, the original
Fright Night, that's what
1985.
Yeah.
He also wrote the remake in 2011.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
That's a good movie, by the way, audience.
Yeah.
You should see that remake.
yes. Just knowing that when you go into it, that it's supposed to be kind of corny.
Yeah, it's like a schlocky B movie sort of thing.
But so
it's
was
a
the
lot,
original.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wish it got more recognition than it does.
Yeah. Well, because as we all know, Zach, you're the #1 Colin Farrell fan.
Oh, yes, I am.
Daredevil is like the big, huge poster laying It's like above your bed.
Yeah,
you wake up.
I mean, that's his best role ever. is bald Colin Farrell with the bullseye on his head.
Super Irish Colin Farrell.
In Bruges, I'm a big In Bruges fan.
That's actually a good.
That's
movie.
actually a good movie.
Yeah,
so.
don't cross-motionate Daredevil and In Bruges.
But then they can never know what's real. Oh, does Zach actually really like the Ben Affleck Daredevil? Is that on par with In Bruges?
There are some people that enjoy that movie for some reason. I don't know. You got Michael Clark Duncan.
Ben Affleck? He
Affleck.
probably enjoys it a little bit.
I
actually don't think he does.
He doesn't. He hates it. He probably hates it only a little bit more than he hates his Batman movies.
Yeah, his Batman.
But you watched Child's Play.
I did, yeah.
Was it good? Did it hold up?
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's pretty cheesy. I mean, it's late 80s, 88, I
88.
think is when it came out. But it's also tense. I wasn't actually expecting it to be a little tense. And from what I read about the sequels, it gets kind of thrown out the window.
Campy and all that, yeah.
Which is fine. I love some campy horror movies, but I just wasn't really expecting it from this. There's a scene in the original Child's Play where I was taken aback by how tense I was in the scene.
Really?
Yeah, like I had a cup in my hand, and then by the time the scene was over, I was like, ah, shit. Like,
you got a cramp?
I got like a claw.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't think a movie like Child's Play would be tense.
Yeah, it's really well directed, and it's still silly, fun. You know, it's for those who don't know or just know the new rendition of Child's Play.
Oh boy, do I have some things to
I'm
say about that?
Have some thoughts later.
Yeah.
The original is about a serial killer who knows some voodoo stuff.
Okay, knows some voodoo stuff.
He ends up dying, but in the process, as he's dying, transfers his soul over into a good boy doll, or good guy doll, I think is a good guess. And then his name is Chucky.
Of course.
So, and he's like this serial strangler that's been going around. So, in the beginning of the movie, he's being chased by cops. He gets killed during the chase, but then soul transfers.
Of course.
Over into the Chucky doll.
Transferring his save file. Yeah. Gotcha. Sorry, video games.
Wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast.
And then from there, he just tries to murder some people for reasons.
Oh.
There's this whole thing where as the soul is in one place, whatever it's in, it becomes more human.
Yeah.
So after a couple days, he's like actually on the verge of being a human, and if he doesn't soul transfer again into the first person who he told that he's soul transferred, which ends up being this little 2-year-old kid, 6-year-old.
Yeah, 2-year-old would be a little
6-year-old. He's a 6-year-old. Then he has to stay in the Chucky body forever.
Gotcha.
So,
that sucks.
It sucks for him, but he is a serial strangler, so I really don't.
So are you familiar with like the whole series or just
no?
Like...
God no.
Okay.
No. As before I watched this, the first Child's Play, I only knew that Chucky was a doll,
right? Who
had the soul of a serial killer inside him.
Okay.
And that he was foul-mouthed, and his movies weren't very good.
Yeah, for the most part. But apparently this one was tense, and it had tense moments.
I mean, I guess there's a reason they've done 9 sequels.
About 1 million, yeah, a lot of them.
But they started here, and it's good.
Okay.
Surprisingly so. I didn't go any farther than that.
Right.
I would be curious to see just how campy it gets, and if it's fun at all, or if it's just kind of
yeah, worth giving them a shot at least to see how bad.
But I feel like so much of my schlock time goes to like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th already.
You can only take so much from one evil protagonist spitting off one-liners and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's why Jason is the best.
Yeah, he doesn't talk.
Yeah, because he doesn't talk.
He's an unfeeling thing.
thing. He's gagged.
Unless you're talking about Tommy Jarvis, then he kind of talks.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not Jason.
No.
He's the new Jason. It's the new beginning.
But then they reboot it like 3 other times.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other franchise that we don't have to get into as of yet. Because I think they're rebooting Friday the 13th again.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because they did in 2009.
Halloween turned out so well, so I think everybody's rushing.
And that one's getting a sequel.
Yeah.
With the same cast.
God, yeah.
But that's cool.
Do you realize? No, I really enjoyed the 2018 Halloween. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was one of the better movies of last year. And maybe that's overselling it, but I just really enjoyed it.
No, it was good. It felt very classic.
It did, and the soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it's John Carpenter.
Yeah. But when this sequel comes out, there are going to be 3 Halloween movies called Halloween 2.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know. Maybe they'll call it something else.
Put a subtitle on it. You know, like Halloween 2 Electric Boogaloo or
Halloween Resurrection.
Halloween 2 Back in the Habit.
There you go. Yeah. Just like Sister Act.
Halloween 2 Fast, 2 Furious.
There you go. I mean, you're perfect at this. Why are we podcasting? We just need to make sequel names.
Oh man, I would kill that. Literally. I would run it into the ground. Anyway, what have you been watching?
I have been watching. I'm trying to get more specific. Let's see. I started watching Neon Genesis Evangelion. I know anime.
Yes.
We talk about it like every week, but
welcome to the anime podcast.
That's what?
Nicknames anime.
Oh, okay. We'll just do another one. Start a third podcast.
It's a brand.
Yeah. Because I had never really gotten into it whenever it was super popular and coming out.
Yeah.
And now that it's on Netflix, I can actually watch it in its entirety and get very confused, like everyone else did forever ago.
Well, you haven't even. How you're on episode 4, right?
Episode 4 now, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a ways to go.
I do.
Not just in terms of length. I think it's like 26 episodes. It's a fairly short anime.
That's not bad.
Or 22? I don't know.
26 sounds right.
But yeah, by the end of that, they had no budget, so they do some things.
They do some things. Okay.
But then I think Netflix also has End of Evangelion on there as well, which is the movie tie-in to wrap it all up. And so I'll be eager to see how you feel about all of it.
How I feel, we will have to wait and see.
There's definitely a reason people still talk about Evangelion to this day.
Well, it was very super. It was super influential to a lot of animators and creators, and like Pacific Rim. We were talking about this earlier,
and I believe I mentioned on the Godzilla podcast that the director for Kong Skull Island got the inspiration from the skull crawlers from Sachiel, which is one of the angels.
Jordan Voight Roberts, or VOGT, however you say that. Yeah. They're very creepy design. It's very artistic for an anime that has a very somewhat simple plot when it comes to starting it off.
I know you mentioned Code Geass.
Yes.
So I know you were watching Code Geass.
Yes.
The last time we recorded.
A lot of anime.
Do you have a whole lot of knowledge or experience with like mech anime?
Somewhat. I would say like the only gray area when it comes to mech anime is Evangelion. Like I watch Gurren Lagann, I watch Code Geass, I guess is another one.
Are you a big Gundam guy?
And I guess not really. I guess that's another huge gray area that I've missed.
So Evangelion is like a deconstruction of mech anime.
Gotcha.
So that's where a lot of the design choices and whatnot, story direction, narrative decision comes from. Is the creator Hideki Anno is kind of taking everything that was stale about mech anime and
kind of turning it on its head,
destroying it.
Kind of like what Game of Thrones tried to do with fantasy.
until they shit the bed.
Yeah.
And depending on your view of the ending of Evangelion, you could have particular feelings about that too. I think it ends fine.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, I can see why it's it divides people.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll get there.
Okay, we'll see.
You let me know what you think.
I'll have to keep watching.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm at the very, very beginning, and it's really good so far. I like the artistic choices. I like the new dub. I think because I never watched the old English dub.
Yeah.
There's some issues, but
I caught a little bit of it while you had a scene up, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but that's because it's not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So if this gets more people watching Ava,
yeah.
I mean, it's doing it for you.
Yeah.
Someone who didn't watch it before. If more people watch it this way, then it doesn't affect me. There's still plenty of ways, not as readily available, to watch it in its original form, but you can still do it.
Yeah.
And
there's DVDs or something out there. We'll have to wait and see. I'm watching that. I'm watching the Code Geass recap movies, like I told you before, and then I'm also watching One Punch Man, and then just getting excited for. I'm watching a lot of anime.
All anime.
And then I try to watch Black Mirror. Like I watched the second episode of season 5, and then you should watch at least one episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah. I should watch one episode of Black Mirror.
Because I know you'd like it. So
I know I'd like it too.
Right.
I just don't make the time, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. And anime is a little bit easier to consume. You know, it's 30 minutes here and there.
Well,
My Hero's coming out.
That's why I made the decision to pick Attack on Titan up again, aside from trying to race to the basement before anyone beats me there.
Oh, wow. That could be taken different ways.
Beats me to the basement, the basement.
Oh.
Out of the basement. It's a quick, anime's quick, man. It's like 24-minute episodes.
Yeah, especially if you cut out like ads and stuff. I have Hulu with ads, which
the first part of Attack on Titan I actually have on my PlayStation.
Oh yeah, because
I got it for free.
Yeah,
and it's just been sitting there for months, a year. And so now I finally pulled the trigger on it.
Nice. And are you watching it in English or?
I am
Japanese?
watching it in English because the version that was free does not have the Japanese dub on it.
Okay.
But when I originally watched it, what I did watch was the Japanese dub. I was watching it simulcast on Crunchyroll.
Right.
So that's a little bit weird.
Yeah, hearing it in different. Yeah,
yeah.
I was the same way when I had to eventually start watching My Hero Academia in Japanese.
Yeah,
just because I wanted to stay current with it. But
man, I don't want to be one of those people that's like a snob about subs and dubs. But like we were over at your place trying to figure out the podcast, and then we had some downtime, so you were scrolling through Netflix.
Yeah,
and the bump for Agretzko played, and it was in English, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And you're like, what? It's Agretzko.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it's all in English. Like when I had watched it, it was in Japanese.
Maybe it's because it's automatically set for me to be in English.
It could be, yeah. Or maybe I very well might have started it in English, like it got to 10 seconds in English, and I was like, no, I'm going to watch this in the original Japanese. So I switched it over. You know, it could be one of those things. But when I hear Agretzko in English now, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's very. It reminds me of like kid TV shows on Nickelodeon. So maybe that's why I stopped watching it too. I don't know.
I really enjoyed season 1. I need to go back and watch season 2. It's on the list.
Yeah. It's on the list. Netflix too. Netflix, man. I'm
so behind on my Netflix shows.
Oh, and Psyche K, The Disastrous Life of Psyche K, I started watching. Pink hair.
Oh yeah, the antenna guy.
Yeah. So a lot of anime, but it's quick and simple. Like sitting down and watching a 45 to 1 hour long thing is it's time commitment.
Yeah.
You know, but That's the thing. Oh, I watched a movie actually on Netflix. I Am Mother, which just came out.
What is that?
It's a post-apocalyptic movie where a girl is born and raised in a bunker.
Oh, the robot one.
Yeah, the robot one.
Yeah, that was good. This is kind of like a Deus Ex Machina or Ex Machina.
Yes.
Fuck.
You got there. It's very similar to that. It's got the same kind of basic-ish premise. There's more post-apocalyptic.
Right. Who's the woman in that again that shows up?
That is... Oh, God. I'm going to look it up. Let me look this up.
It's not Sandra Bullock.
It's not Sandra Bullock. It is the one... She has a very horse-ish face.
Yeah, there's an episode of The Office.
I think that was
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. It's Hilary Swank. Yeah, so you got there. Horse face. I'm terrible. Sorry, Hillary. We know you listen. I Am Mother, and it started off as kind of like, oh, this could have been all sci-fi, you know. But it actually, there are about 1,000 twists in this movie, to where you're like, all right, should I trust the robot or should I trust Hilary Swank?
That's what the trailer looked like.
Yeah, so it keeps doing that, and it's about 2 hours, and it's actually really well directed and acted. So I recommend actually people check that out because sci-fi can never get enough recognition. So
that's true. That's a fact. That's a true fact.
Look
it up.
That is a rock fact.
Yeah.
No one will get that reference. It's Over the Garden Wall. It was a Cartoon Network.
Oh, yeah. I still need to watch that, too.
Yeah, it's on the list.
I still need to finish Gravity Falls, man.
Oof. Actually, it's not that long. It's only
It's 3 seasons. And I think 20, maybe less episodes per season.
Each, yeah. And Cartoon Network is weird with their seasons.
Well, there's 20 Adventure Time seasons, but one of them is 50 episodes long.
And the other one is 20 or 10. Yeah. So they don't know what they're doing. But yeah, that's what we've been watching.
It has been watched.
It has been watched. It has been decreed watched.
And now our watch will end.
Oh no.
Sorry. To remind you of Game of Thrones.
How dare you. Let's dive into the main feature then. The main attraction. Let's talk about the 2 movies that came out that I saw.
Yes.
One more than the other. One more out of curiosity. I watched Child's Play and I watched Toy Story 4. If you follow me on Instagram at NicksUnderFire, I post pictures of every movie I see, or try to, unless I forget, of every ticket. And so I watched Child's Play on Friday and I watched Toy Story this morning.
It was a bit of a theme for you this weekend.
Because I love watching toys come to life, owned by kids named Andy, which I thought was a weird coincidence. I didn't know about that in the original Child's Play.
The original is Andy, too.
Yeah, it's Andy. So it's like...
That is weird.
Toy Story took that from Child's Play, apparently, because it came out before.
I would be surprised, yeah.
No. So, I guess I can just kind of... Because you didn't see either.
I did not.
So, but
I was a bad theater watcher this weekend.
That's okay. You have other stuff to do. I have no life. So big deal.
Don't say that about yourself.
But I watched... let's start with Child's Play.
Okay.
So, because you watched the original Child's Play,
I did.
We can kind of do side-by-side comparisons and see how it is. So, this movie starts off in Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Where a disgruntled factory worker who decides to daydream for 5 seconds because he's working 20-hour work days, gets fired by his boss for daydreaming and says, the boss is like, get the fuck out of here.
This is secretly the secret life of Walter Mitty, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And so he transfers his consciousness into an adult. No. So the difference already, it's not a serial killer.
Well, it didn't start in Thailand, the original, that's for sure.
Or Vietnam. It's a moist place.
Seattle's moist too.
I guess. This could have been Seattle, but it's not. It's a foreign country that is moist. But it starts off with that. So the disgruntled factory worker's like, all right, fuck this. Since I'm being fired and I can no longer work here, and I hate this place, I'm going to turn off all the factory settings for this one Chucky doll So like all the safety features and stuff that keeps him from swearing and killing people, apparently those are things you need to block. He turns those off, and then he hurls himself out a window and onto a car and kills himself.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, there is an early, like the first death of well, not the first death, but an early death in the original Child's Play has someone falling out of a window and landing in a car.
So I think that was actually a reference to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because are there two characters like facing the camera and the cars in the background in the death?
No.
Okay, never mind.
She gets pushed out a window, or Chucky hits her with like a toy hammer.
Yeah. And
then she falls back into the window.
What an idiot.
Then it tracks her all the way down.
Of course. That sounds like a cool shot.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Huh. There's a lot of neat things about the original Child's Play.
I'll have to actually watch this instead of this one. Because, oh, by the way, I didn't like this movie. Let me preface by saying I haven't watched any Chucky movie since Bride of Chucky, like forever ago.
Which is the 2009 one?
Bride of Chucky. Let's look it up.
2003? That's the one with Katherine Heigl.
No, that's Jennifer Tilly is the bride.
Oh yeah. Oh. But Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, she is. She's in there. She's Jade.
Yeah.
Anybody named Jade in a movie?
Oh, Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, that was 2000 or 98. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Bride of Chucky, 1998.
Seed of Chucky.
Seed of Chucky, I think is what I'm thinking of because it has the kid. Yeah. Anyway, dolls can have kids. So you start off with the.
Wow. So do a wiki dive.
So the toy gets. No, I'm good. The toy gets sent off and gets picked up by not the main character's mom, but another character who brings it to Zedmart, I think is what it's called, and the mom of the main character, Andy. It works at the returns and exchanges, and she's like, yeah, so this doll had glowing red eyes and was saying like evil things. I don't want it anymore. And so the mom is like, okay, cool. I'll give it to my kid who's like 14 is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like 12 to 14.
One of the things I read is that they aged the kid up considerably.
Yeah, which is very weird considering the rest of the movie. Like, this is set in the real world where people are like, wow, that doll looks creepy as fuck. They even say that later in the movie. But everyone's totally cool with this doll that can control your thermostat, your TV.
Well, it comes from this company, right? That is like so all-encompassing that they basically make everything.
Yeah, they're the Apple/Google company.
And this doll is supposed to be like a helper.
Yeah, it's an Alexa. It's an Amazon Alexa. Yeah, so it's basically a digital assistant, but in a creepy doll thing.
It's just what everyone wants for the future.
Yeah, if I want my Amazon Alexa to look like a fucking murderous monster, then I would put googly eyes on it.
Well, we're only like 10 steps away from having Alexa being a legitimate sex toy.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if you have an Alexa or a Google Home, OK Google, computer, all the other keywords that wake it up.
Alexa.
Order 50 condoms. So anyway, it basically does all of that. And by the way, whenever it does it, it has a glowing finger like E.T.
Oh,
and
nice.
It does this. And it
I don't know what you're so down on this movie about. It sounds great to me.
It's not, because the doll, if you want to look at it,
I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah. It's like the original Chucky doll.
It's got like a weird plastic.
Yeah, it's got a huge head.
Yeah.
And like a very like uncanny valley face. Like the original Chucky doll.
It looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yeah, it looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid, which makes sense. Because that's very realistic.
Well,
this one is not.
Like, the doll is just a doll, too. It's not like this home companion thing.
Yeah.
It's a doll that's literal function is to respond with 3 lines.
Do you want to play with me? And then he starts singing like a song like...
No, there's no song there.
Yeah, there's a song in this remake. He's like, I am your buddy. This Chucky is voiced by Mark Hamill. Who does a great job. Like, there's a reason they hired him, because they watched Batman the Animated Series like everyone else.
Is it just Joker and...
No, it's very much like Mark Hamill talking kind of like a little boy. Like, he literally sounds like, hi, I'm Chucky. Oh, by the way, he starts off and everyone is named Buddy, but you can name your buddy doll.
Yeah, they have nicknames. Yeah.
So he's like, what would you like to name me? And the kid's like, oh, I know what I want to name you. Han Solo. Because you're Mark Hamill, aren't you? And everyone in the audience groaned and punched themselves in the dick. So did I. And so he's like, "Did you say Chucky?" And so he's like, "Yeah, I guess I said Chucky because that sounds like Han Solo." And then the rest of the movie just continues on.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The doll is fucked up at the beginning. Like, it's obviously defective, and the mom's like, "Hey, I got you this defective toy because it's your birthday in a couple of weeks, but I have no money."
Okay, let me... Obviously, I'm not the biggest Chucky fan, because I literally just watched the first one.
Right.
However, I could say there's an actual reasoning behind, like, the way the doll works in the first one. When he's responding, people are like, "Oh, well, that's one of the things he says." It's not defective. It's just working as is. And then the whole conceit of it is that, well, this 6-year-old kid is telling us that he's saying other things. Obviously, we were not going to believe that because it's a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And dolls don't talk.
And here's the thing. It's Aubrey Plaza plays the mother, who is, I believe in real life, like, only 5 or 6 years older than this kid, is what it looks like. And the justification behind the movie is like, yeah, we wanted to present this single mother who was, like, really young when she had her first kid. And she, a single mom, by the way. The dad, they don't explain whether the dad is dead or he left.
In the original, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead in a car crash or something, right?
I don't think they even mention a car crash. There's a throwaway line about how the kid thinks that the Chucky doll was sent down from heaven from the dad.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this isn't as sad. It's the kid, like, he starts off like, "I don't want this fucking creepy doll," and then 5 seconds later he's like, "Oh, cool, let me walk you to my bedroom," and you see, like, the weird Muppet walk when they do dolls and stuff in CG. Yeah. But the CG is terrible. Yeah. It's like early 2000s CG. You'll hear about it later when I mention the other Chucky dolls that come to life, because it's an AI. Yeah. This isn't a psychopath murderer in one doll. This is an AI who becomes rogue and infects other dolls, right? Including bear dolls.
There is a similar thing that they do later on that I read,
okay.
But it's not like multiple Chucky dolls. Yeah, it's just parts kind of redistributed around everywhere.
Oh, well, he also hacks drones with razor blades on them.
Oh yeah,
and decapitates people.
Where do these drones with razor blades come from?
No, there's a scene at the end with where there's a launch for the Buddy 2, which is like a sequel to the... and everyone's super excited for another version of this creepy-ass doll, but instead of red hair, he has blonde, short hair.
Oh, cool.
And there's also...
I don't know if that's...
There's also bear Buddy dolls, and... yeah, it's like, why would you want more of this? It's like iPhone to iPhone 2. They just want another one.
Yeah.
But... Anyway, from the start of the movie to the beginning to the end of the movie, there's just red flag after red flag. You have a cat that is a shitty cat named Mickey Rooney, which makes sense. I don't know why they would name the cat Mickey Rooney, but
it's ironic.
It's a dirtbag cat. Scratches the main character, and so this buddy doll, Chucky, is like, well, I don't want you to hurt my friend, so he stabs the cat about 1,000 times.
Cool.
And so what the kid does, instead of smashing the Chucky doll right then and there, because the Chucky doll admits to it, he puts it in a cupboard and then goes to sleep. And then he wakes up in the middle of the night and sees the Chucky doll, like, standing there at the foot of his bed, staring at him. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll go back to sleep.
Why wouldn't you get rid of this?
Immediately smash this thing. Like... horror movie logic. I get it. But I don't get it.
There's plenty of it in the original, too.
I know.
Not to that extent, I would say. There is a scene where when the mom is confronting the doll, because at this point, the child has been taken away.
Right.
Because the police think that he's kind of a murderer.
Oh, the kid? Yeah.
And he just keeps saying that it's Chucky.
Yeah. There's a similar plot thread to that in this movie.
So the mom is like holding him and being like, you tell me, that you're real, that you talk, and then she like threatens to toss him into the fire, and then that's when he comes alive. And it's like, how dare you bitch?
And then there's the
curse. And then she like drops him on the ground, and he rolls under the couch, what do you think the first thing she does is?
She leans down to look at underneath the couch.
She looks underneath it. What the fuck?
Like, I mean, like super close to it too, not far away.
No, she's like right down there.
Yeah.
And granted, nothing immediately happens.
Yeah.
However, why? And it's not like subtle or anything.
She sees it happen.
When Chucky comes. Like, she's literally holding him face to face, and then his head turns around backwards because she looks and notices that there's no batteries inside, so that's how she figures out.
Okay. See, there's a little bit of logic to the original. There's just a lot of, like, as soon as... because the kid has no friends, obviously, but you have to remember, like, this kid is older.
Right.
He has a hearing aid, by the way, and that comes into play later when Chucky hacks the hearing aid for some reason.
Okay.
To speak into his ear.
Can you hack hearing aids?
No, you can't.
Okay.
There's a lot of in this movie, but like I get it, horror movie logic, but you have to suspend your disbelief at least for a little bit. But
sounds like you were doing it for the entire movie.
And here's because I went into the movie thinking, okay, this is going to be straight horror. There's going to be like some funny-ish moments on purpose, but like they go directly from a horror movie to a straight black comedy movie at one point. Like there is a death scene in this movie where Chucky, there's an evil boyfriend of the mother who ends up getting captured by Chucky, and what Chucky does, because he learned it from a kid earlier in the movie, he says, "This is for Tupac," and stabs the boyfriend 13 times while his face...
That actually sounds great.
While his head gets cut off by a lawnmower. Yeah. So, I mean, there were the gore and the death scenes were actually pretty gruesome, and like I was like, okay, this is like on Saw level, so this is kind of cool, but I couldn't tell whether I was supposed to be laughing or like cringing. So there is a line in dark comedy where you need to figure out whether you're going to be a horror movie or a comedy movie, and like if you're going to toe that line and be both, it's a very thin line.
Right.
Like there's Fright Night, where it's very obviously a comedy, but like the horror elements.
Did you see You're Next?
Yes. That's a very confusing movie too.
That is exactly what when you're saying this like weird in between that it can't really get right, that's what my mind goes to, because that entire movie is like trying to deconstruct the slasher genre
and the last girl genre,
right? But also falling to the same problems. Yeah, and it's like trying to, on one hand, be the next Strangers, and on the other, be like some campy ridiculousness. Yeah. And I hated the majority of that movie. I don't think there's really any redeeming thing about that movie except for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, where she's basically...
Where she, like, starts going in on the attackers. Yeah. And, like, this great synth track kicks in, and that last 30 minutes is really fucking good. Yeah. But everything before it is just... Ugh.
You know who directed that? It was directed by Adam Wingard, who's done scenes for, like, VHS and ABCs of Death. Yeah. So he directed Your Next, VHS, a part of it. He directed The Guest, which got really good reviews. He also directed the remake of Blair Witch.
Oh, that was
horrible,
right? You saw that.
Yeah, it was really bad. That was the Spaghetti Date.
The Spaghetti Date.
Infamous. And he also directed VHS 2, ABCs of Death, blah, 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 Your Next. He's done a lot of independent... He's an independent director. Like, he tries to do it with the smallest amount of budget, except for Death Note, the Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So that's about as close to him with a big budget.
I have some feelings on that one too. Yeah, not as strong as I think other people.
That movie fucking sucks.
But there's some serious issues with it. I don't have an issue with it straying from the source material as much, but just the way it's structured.
It tried to be the source material, though. That's the thing.
But it also didn't. It wanted to have its cake and eat it, too. Yeah. It's like, oh, look how original we are. Yeah. But we're also not.
It's not, I mean, it's like the actual Japanese adaptation, live-action adaptations. It's like, do one or the other, but anime is anime. Anyway, Child's Play. Similar to that vein, it's just like you need to choose what you're going to do. Are you going to be funny? Or are you going to be...
Or just be better at towing that line. Yeah. Because there are really good ones that I can't think of at the moment. Do toe the line. I know they exist.
Idle Hands is my favorite. Dark comedy.
Funny Games.
Funny Games, yeah. I would say the original over the remake.
I agree.
Even though it was made by the same people. Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah.
The remake. Yeah. Anyway, we can keep doing this because we're big horror movie fans. Dark comedy fans. But Child's Play, it was... Again, I haven't watched any Chucky movie other than this one in a long, long time. So maybe this is actually on par with the originals.
Well,
or at least kind of...
From what I gather, and from what I remember just from like little tidbits here and there, what I had seen over the years.
Yeah.
They just kind of abandoned the whole straight horror thing.
Yeah.
In lieu of just dark comedy.
So, I mean, maybe that's what they're trying to do.
What the quality of that line, I don't know. I think it varies from movie to movie.
Let's look. I want to actually pull up the facts because this is IMDb. This may or may not be 100% true because this can be user edited. But let's see. Mark Hamill previously voiced Chucky in the television series for Robot Chicken.
They're also doing a Chucky TV show.
Yeah, the original creators of Chucky and every sequel before this decided to do a separate limited series to continue the storyline there. Yeah. Continue the story there.
Yeah. It's on, which is the other bonkers thing about this, because it's like, and I think they just had a new movie come out on Netflix like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like,
and I think they're doing another movie on that timeline. So I don't know what this is,
Cult
this
of Chucky.
is for.
2017.
If they're continuing the timeline of the original, what's the point? I guess I don't see how you can arrive at Child's Play. That's easy box office money.
People are clamoring for Child's Play. Let's look at Box Office Mojo. Now that I think about it, because I know it's going to be just.
Are they going to have opening weekend stats? It's only Saturday. It just came out.
It'll be there.
If you believe.
If you believe.
Believe hard enough.
It's hold on. Child's Play so far is at 6.1 million. At a production budget of 10. So it needs to hit about 20.
It'll probably break even over the course of a month.
Yeah.
And maybe make a small profit.
For the parents or the adults who don't have kids.
Yeah.
That are getting dragged to go see Toy Story, obviously. I think it was a smart move to release it at the same time as Toy Story 4.
Yeah, I mean, the demographics are different.
Yeah, and if you release it in October or late September, you're just going to get buried by everything else.
Yeah.
Whereas Toy Story 4, by the way, it's just Saturday, 47.4 million. So.
That's a difference.
Yeah, it's very big. So far, it's ranked number 1 for widest G-rated openings. I don't know why that's a stat. Anyway, Child's Play. If you're a big fan of the Chucky series, I actually recommend going to see it to see what you think of it. If you've never seen a Chucky movie before, but you're a big horror movie fan, I would say...
I'd say see the original.
See the original first.
As a horror fan, I actually unironically enjoyed the first one. And there's like a little bit... It was like one line that got me. That made me laugh. The Chucky doll is coming back to the apartment. He's like chasing the 6-year-old.
Yeah. Because
he wants to steal his body. He wants to put his soul into his body.
Yeah.
And he's riding the elevator, but he has to kind of pretend he's still a toy at this point because there's people in the elevator.
Yeah.
And one old lady turns around as they're walking out, and she's like, "What an ugly doll." And then as the elevator is going up, you just hear, "Fuck you." Like, oh man, that's a good subtle line. But that's basically it. There's really no comedy in this. It's just straight horror.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll put this movie in better context.
And because beforehand I had really no interest in Child's Play or the Chucky series at all. But I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll have to give that one a shot, but I mean, it'll probably put me back in. It'll level me out after watching both Child's Play and maybe we should talk about a little Toy Story 4, which a lot of people apparently, like I just listed off the box office so far, and that's
all just children.
Well,
and Nick.
Yeah. I was the only person in my showing that didn't have a kid. I'm not kidding.
I know you're not.
It was a smaller theater. It was a smaller theater at mine, but I think that I chose it on purpose because I knew there would be just less people in general to interrupt and throw paste at me. I don't know, whatever kids do. Run around and
scream, cry.
For some reason, But
crawl on top of people.
Hey, what are you doing down there?
Watch them moving.
Watch the fucking kids moving. You should too.
Control your child, lady. I, an almost 30-year-old, would like to enjoy this film as an auteur.
Yes, I have a podcast to record.
Don't you know I need quality content?
So, Toy Story 4, for those of you that don't know, is a sequel to Toy Story 3.
Oh.
And Toy Story 2. And
shocking.
Yeah,
is that how their naming convention goes?
Yes.
Just numbers?
Yes. Don't patronize me. But you can patronize us at patreon.com/nicknextmovies. So Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
This movie, let me just start off by saying I've kind of grown out of Disney Pixar movies. Like, what played before this was the Frozen 2 trailer, the new one.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, see, I hear you saying this, but I know you're going to be in your Elsa dress and wig on opening night.
No one else is supposed to know about that. I showed you that in pure confidence.
Well,
Fuck you. Like the old lady to Chucky. Fuck you. No, the movie, okay, so the animation, it's top notch. It's Disney Pixar. They know what they're doing. They're throwing the money at the right departments.
Right.
All the voice cast is coming back with a couple of new ones. You have Keanu Reeves. It's the Keanu-verse.
Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Coming back from directing Jordan Peele. I think his first movie role since directing. Since Keanu, yeah. Well, ironically.
Yeah.
And then you also have Bo Peep returning, which is Annie Potts, I believe. And then you also get... I just had it pulled up. Tom Hanks, yes. And Tim Allen, yes. Hold on.
Forky is...
Tony Hale.
Okay, yeah.
Who is from Arrested Development, Veep, and all that. I had to look him up.
Buster Bluth.
Yes, Buster Bluth. With the hook hand. But yeah, I mean, so you have a really stellar voice cast who have all done voice acting before, so all that. It's just the story seemed extra. Like, I know people were clamoring for more after the end of Toy Story 3, after clearing out their eyes from crying. Right. And that's fine. But, this all just seemed like this could have been a straight-to-DVD release, or straight-to-streaming release,
I will say, not to... discount your viewing experience. What I'm hearing is that it's more of an epilogue as opposed to 3, which was an ending.
Yes, in a way. So, without spoiling the movie, because it's a very end of the film thing, but there is, depending on who you count as the main character for Toy Story, there is also a definite ending for a specific character.
Gotcha.
Without spoiling anything. So, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 was an ending for Andy.
The group,
yeah, and for the group as a whole. But then there's also an ending for a specific character in Toy Story 4.
Gotcha.
But also kind of a new beginning, So, and in that way, I was like, okay, now it makes sense, justified. But, they use his reasoning, or her reasoning.
It's alright, I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about, but for anyone listening.
Yeah. For this character's reasoning to have that ending, they kind of tiptoe around the reason why they're doing it.
Does it feel like they're shoehorning it a little bit?
No, I mean, they use it constantly as motivation for their actions.
Gotcha.
But the new character they introduced, Forky, is kind of just a plot device more than an actual character.
Well, he is a fork.
Yeah. So I guess in a way for the adults in the room who are like, wait, why? how does this make sense rules wise? Like, how is it alive?
Yeah.
And they toy with that idea. No pun intended. Actually, it's a little intended. Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. I will have it. And so they kind of mess with the idea of like consciousness, existentialism, and the idea of being yourself. In a way.
It's like an internal look.
Yeah, it's not very much like a point A to point B thing. This is all kind of like introspective for each of the characters, not just the main ones like Buzz, Woody, and Ham, of course, the main character.
Yeah. No,
Slinky Dog, yeah, who's still around. But there's a lot of funny jokes in there. I like they're more cameos than anything, but Keanu Reeves and Key and Peele.
Yeah, that trailer, man, that was.
Which one?
I don't know if you remember the one where they're both hanging on the backboard at the carnival.
Yeah,
that's the one that got me.
The one that was like, where they're kicking Buzz in the head.
Yeah.
That was a pretty funny scene. They're great in it. They're just hey, can you be Key and Peele? Like in the voiceover.
That's what I was gathering.
Yeah. So they play off each other, of course, very well, and then they play off the other people very well. So it's a good movie. It's just not a movie for me, and maybe that's part of the standard. Like, I'm not going to obviously grade it or anything.
Yeah.
I think that's weird, but if you have kids, obviously you're already going to go take them to see it if you haven't seen it already. But I thought it was kind of it seemed more of an epilogue than anything else. It seemed kind of extra. This should have been like a Disney Plus day one type of thing.
Wow.
That would have sold
it certainly would have. And I'm hesitant to say that discounts its quality. Just because we haven't seen the quality of Disney Plus.
That's true.
And they have a lot of material, original material coming out of there.
Yeah, not including past material like previous films and TV shows and all that. And that's a whole separate topic. But I don't know. I feel like it just seems okay. The story never really grabbed me by the balls. You know what I mean? Not that Toy Story should have. Don't put that on the DVD cover.
I came here for The Raid, and I got Toy Story 4.
Fuck this.
I wanted Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
And I got Toy Story 4.
Well, let's say Dredd, not Judge Dredd.
No, let's say Judge Dredd.
No.
You wanted Sylvester Stallone, and you got Keanu Reeves.
Oh, man. Well, actually, that's a pretty good trade-off. Depending on which franchise.
On what kind of movie you're watching, yeah.
Because Keanu Reeves is having a hell of a year.
Now I'm just picturing Sylvester Stallone and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That'd be great. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'll watch the first two before I watch the third one. But, I'm sorry this one's a little bit shorter than Chucky or Child's Play, but people are pretty much sold on whether they're going to see it or not. They have their opinions set, Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to see it. You love kids' movies. You weirdo.
I don't know what to tell you.
Fucking ain't right.
There are deeper things in kids' movies than people give them credit for.
Yeah, that's I guess I'll give that to you. What are we looking at?
We're at under an hour.
Ah, shit. All right, well, I guess we're doing fine. Do you have any thoughts about Toy Story or Child's Play?
Child's Play, I said my piece on.
Yeah.
Toy Story, yeah. I mean, and I think you said it yourself. If it's delving into things like existentialism and self-worth and that kind of thing.
Like there's a scene.
I don't think kids might pick up a little bit on that. They'll get the general feeling of being upset or introspective.
There's very much parts where it's like, this is for the adults. Like, there's a scene where Buzz and Woody are, trying to make sure that Forky doesn't throw himself in the trash.
Right.
Because he thinks he's trash. Yeah. But Buzz is like, he's like, I'll take it. He's like, no, there's this... Woody's like, no, there's this voice inside of me that, tells me that I need to make sure I'm taking care of him. Mm-hmm. Buzz is like, what are you talking about, inner voice? It's like, no, the voice inside of you. He's like, oh, you mean when you pulled the string on the thing? Yeah. So he presses the button on himself. And it's like, Buzz Lightyear, asteroids coming in. Oh, fuck. And so, for most of the movie, Buzz is pressing buttons on himself and listen. He guides himself essentially for the rest of the movie. So he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Toy Story 3 had a similar thing where, yeah, it's still a kids movie, but ostensibly the finale is there for those who were growing up with the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so much more effective. Like, you can make anything really a kid's movie as long as you take out, gratuitous violence, sex, language, that kind of thing.
Gore and all that.
Then just, put some fart jokes in there.
Yeah. Sorry, those are my kind of movies. Yeah. Fart jokes. The villain in this movie, by the way, isn't really much of a villain. It's like a separate character that we've never met that has a different view on how they want to be a toy. And then they end up, doing what they need to do.
Right.
Without spoiling anything. But they need to do what they need to do, and they do it. So they kind of take plot devices from separate Toy Story. Like, I got pings of Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 from this, which is fine, because they worked. But I was like, okay, I feel like they could have done something different with the antagonist and with kind of the story and everything, because there's like the road trip and being lost and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's fine. It's fine as a movie, but people are going to go see it because it says the words Toy Story in the title and 4. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my thing. I'm,
Are you okay?
I don't. So I canceled 2 separate tickets to go see it at earlier times because I justified it by saying I could watch something else I'd rather enjoy at home. But I did it for you guys. I did it for the podcast. What are you looking forward to? Like, since we're halfway through the year, what are some movies you're excited about?
So I don't know if you remember, we were talking about, it was a Godzilla podcast. And then we were talking about movies we were excited for. And for some reason, I mentioned that I wasn't really feeling excited for anything for the rest of the year. Which I don't know why I said that. Because as soon as I got home,
at the time.
As soon as I got home, I was like, what are you talking about, man? Spider-Man's in July. Star Wars is in the summer.
It seemed very weird. And if you go back to the episode, I was very confused. So I didn't have anything to talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are 2 big ones, right?
Yeah. Spider-Man's right around the corner.
July 3rd.
Yeah. And then...
Which is a Wednesday, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Because July 4th, the actual holiday is a Thursday.
The 3rd, yeah.
We in America, for all of our listeners...
Like to blow shit up.
Yeah. On July 4th, Independence Day.
And scare
children all the dogs. Yeah. Have fun with that, by the way.
Oh, I will. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I have 3 dogs here for anyone.
Yeah. I have a cat, and he won't give a fuck.
He'll go and hide.
No, he'll just be asleep. There. Yeah. Because he's old. So those are the 2 big ones? Can you think of anything else?
Those are some big ones. I'm also excited for Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about that before. I think that's this weekend.
This upcoming weekend, yeah.
It's a limited release, I think.
Yeah, but it'll be over at mine if you want to go see it.
I'm pretty sure it'll be over here, too. Yeah. But the wife and I are excited for that one, so we'll be seeing it.
Yeah.
And then Midsummer?
We are Midsummer. Oh, well, I guess the first day of summer was a couple of days ago.
No. Fucking asshole.
What?
The movie!
It's Midsommar. It's Dutch.
You're Dutch.
No, I'm not. I'm very Irish.
Despite not knowing how to say its name, I am excited for that.
I think that's soon too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Directed by Ari Aster, who did Hereditary.
Which was a different movie than I was expecting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It looked like really, maybe not jump scary, but
like typical horror.
Yeah, like straightforward horror and tense, and really it's just all tension. Like that movie,
the whole
is just
movie.
Tension. Release, maybe? I don't know. You're gonna go home. It's not my job to release the tension. You're fucked up now.
This all sounds like an allegory for masturbation, and I'm not comfortable with it.
It could be.
Let's not have any empty space. Let's talk about something other. Bring another movie back up.
Let's see.
I'm going down the list. Next week we have another Living Doll movie. Annabelle Comes Home. Great. Yesterday, Ophelia.
Annabelle, the best DC superhero.
Oh yeah, because she's in the
Shazam and all.
That's because James Wan is directed or involved in both of those movies. Spider-Man, Midsommar, the same week. No, Midsommar is the 3rd. Spider-Man Far From Home is actually July 2nd.
Oh.
So if you wanted to watch it early, I actually think there's July 1st. You can see it at midnight. Stuber, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is actually fucking July. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
Are you not a Quentin Tarantino
No,
fan?
I am.
Okay.
But it's...
DiCaprio, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie, Emile Hirsch.
It goes quality...
Kurt Russell. Luke Perry.
Scale.
He's
kind of is all over the place.
Al Pacino. Okay. Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
Timothy Olyphant.
Those are all the people in that.
Are you telling me you're not excited for Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw?
No.
Oh, well, fine.
I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He is a wonderful person, and I hope that he continues to be himself because he's a treasure.
Yeah.
However...
Fuck that.
I'm not going to see Hobbs and Shaw.
Fine, I'll go see it by myself. Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I'm excited for.
Swiper, no swiping.
Or I'll bash your
fucking fox head in, I swear to God. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, I am actually interested to see how that one goes.
I don't like the premise of it because it's like, hey, let's take the book itself.
Just all these other stories.
Mini stories, yeah. And then let's just make that be like the premise of the movie. Like, hey, they come to life from the book.
My thing is, it's Del Toro, right?
He's not directing it. It's Andre Overdal, who has directed Troll Hunter,
that's
from 2010,
interest.
and the autopsy of Jane Doe, which I had never seen.
Oh, I don't know why I thought Del Toro was involved.
Well, he's producing.
Oh, okay, maybe that's why. Because they're probably on every little thing that they're advertising.
His name brings
Del
prestige.
Toro.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's by the same guy that did Troll Hunters actually fills me with a lot of hope, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a really great movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I have, yeah. I would say it's kind of weird because depending on that was a low budget film where they used CG to kind of make it seem more indie and grounded. It'll be interesting to see what he does with a bigger budget because sometimes that breaks indie directors.
So did you not like Troll Hunter?
No, I did.
Okay,
I did.
Okay, gotcha.
But when you give directors who had never done a big budget film before,
right. No, you're exactly right. Similar thing happened with Gareth Edwards, I think.
Yeah,
he was with Monster, and then he moved over to Godzilla.
Well, he did Monsters. Yeah,
Not Monster. Monsters.
Yeah, Monsters. Monster.
I said Monster singular.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, totally different movie.
But so stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi. I'll see it no matter what. I don't care what it is.
What? Jojo Rabbit?
Yeah, that's his movie.
Is that like Usagi Yojimbo?
No, it's an upcoming dark comedy drama film written and directed by Taika Waititi, whose screenplay is based on the book Caging Skies by Christine Lunens. So, whatever that means. Synopsis. Lonely German boy Jojo Rabbit Betzler has his worldview turned upside down when he discovers that his single mother, Rosie, played by Scarlett Johansson, is hiding a young Jewish boy, Thomason Mackenzie, in their attic. Aided only by his idiotic imaginary friend Adolf Hitler, played by Taika Waititi, Jojo must confront his blind nationalism. So it's a movie about the Holocaust.
So that sounds like quite the bizarre adventure for Jojo.
Yeah. It's a comedic Hitler movie, so...
Definitely bizarre for JoJo. That adventure.
Not okay. Ha. JoJo's bizarre.
A joke is always great when you have to repeat it.
Yes. Go to hell. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an anime. For those that don't know, I feel like I needed to clarify for the people who skip over the anime sections where we talk about anime.
Oh, anime. Yeah.
I know. That's all they watch. I need to know what else they watch.
Did you see that
that's not true.
The final season or final episode of season 8 was put up for
Game of Thrones? Yeah. I want to die.
No, right now it's okay. It's a little like companies. But if it wins, then yes, I want to die.
Out of every episode for season 8.
Yeah.
Like, really?
That one?
Really?
They have to say on the box for season 8, Emmy nominated. That's what they have to do. The HBO finale, or the finale of the HBO series, Emmy nominated season 8. Game of Thrones.
I don't think they have to do it per season. Plus, it's already been nominated for Emmys.
They'll put it on the box.
Oh, I know they will, but it's stupid. Terminator Dark Fate. We've talked about this.
Yeah, we talk about it every podcast.
Terminator fucking sucks. Go to hell. Charlie's Angels, directed by Elizabeth Banks. Cool. Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, Sam Claflin, Patrick Stewart?
Oh, is he Bosley?
I guess. I think Elizabeth Banks is going to be Bosley.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're doing a female Bosley.
Yeah. Ford v Ferrari, which actually looks really cool.
I don't know what that one is.
It's a biopic about some of the people who work for Ford making a race car to race in Le Mans versus Ferrari. Directed by James Mangold, who did Logan.
Oh, yeah.
And, what was it? I'm trying to remember. The Wolverine.
One of those is better than the other.
I know, but okay, so Logan. We'll just say that. He's a good director.
He is.
He's made good films.
Yeah. But Wolverine's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. Like, when you don't compare it to Logan.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
When you compare it to Origins, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a good movie, bad movie. Good X-Men movies, fuck. We don't have to talk. We had a whole episode.
It is an interesting record.
It is, and I'm glad it's done. Frozen 2, you'll go see.
Ooh.
Ooh. Let it go, alright? At least I didn't have to repeat it.
Nice. You can.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Oh, Cats. There's a Cats movie coming out. So, Cats. James Corden. Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, Jason Derulo, Ian McKellen, Judi Dench, Jennifer Hudson, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is in this. Live action.
Ian McKellen is too.
Yes. Oh, and Star Wars. I skipped over Star Wars, I guess. Comes out the same day as Cats and this movie called Fair and Balanced, whatever the fuck
I
that
can't
is.
imagine what everybody's going to see between Star Wars and Cats.
Well, I want to go see Super Intelligence with Melissa McCarthy and James
You
Corden.
can just stop there.
James Corden is in like 3 movies coming out in the same weekend.
It's part of the brand.
I fucking hate James Corden.
Why?
Every week I need to say someone that I hate. James Corden is one of them.
Why? Why do you hate James Corden?
Mainly the Emoji Movie, but also because he thinks he's a lot funnier and cooler than everyone else thinks he is.
Can I say that
You're
watching
wrong.
Doctor Who helps because he's not that in Doctor Who.
What do you mean? Like he's a...
The character he plays in Doctor Who is just kind of a schlub, almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just don't like when I went to go see Into the Woods, which fuck that movie, by the way.
I thought it was fine.
Like really, the new one?
Yeah, with Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
I
just like it. Really?
Yeah. It was a little long, but
yeah, it was super well.
The musical's long, so
yeah, but I just like a whole bunch of people die. Like it gets really, really dark, and
I mean that's
I never watched the musical. I didn't have any frame of reference. Into the Woods. Fuck James Corden. All right. I'll do the outro. Pissed off now. Do you have any required watch for people?
I will say you mentioned Key and Peele during your Toy Story thing, and I believe Jordan Peele's most recent movie, Us, is out now.
Yeah, it's on DVD.
Yeah. And that, while not as good, I think, as Get Out, is really good.
I would say it's a good foray into an original horror film. That's not based on anything. Yeah, and it's a good idea.
When I first saw it in theaters, I was a little more down on it than I think I am now. I didn't come out of there thinking like that was a bad movie or anything, I just thought there were some like loose ends or some logical things that didn't quite make sense. But now that I've had some time, I think it is still it's a good point on his track record. So I don't think Jordan Peele has yet to do a bad movie.
Yeah, so far out of his 2 movies.
And there's a scene specifically at the end of that, the dance sequence, if you've seen it.
Yes, I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah. And to this day, I don't think I've gone 1 week after seeing that movie that I don't think about that sequence.
Well, that's cool. That's the movie leaving an impression on you.
Yeah. So I would say give us a shot if you can find.
And give us a shot.
Yeah.
No, it's a good. Check out us. Would you say it's a buy or a rent? Or
I would say give it a rent first, and then depending on how much you like it, you can go full ham on it. But you can get it off Redbox or whatever. Do that.
Okay.
What about you?
I would say that Neon Genesis Evangelion, if you haven't already seen it, is a good show to at least try out. Give it 2-3 episodes, and if you don't like it, then you won't like the rest of the series.
I'll put
Wait, hold on. Is it, just to get invested. Just to get invested. And then let's say I would say the original Child's Play. I'm basing off of your recommendation.
Yeah. Actually, I'll put my stamps on both of those recommendations. Neon Genesis is a luminary in the anime field for a reason.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a reason people still talk about it. And Child's Play is a surprisingly fun ride and pretty tense at times.
Okay, cool. The original one, 1988.
Yes, original, not the new one.
Yeah.
I have not seen the new one, so I would take Nick's stance on that to heart.
I just,
Nick is sad.
This is for Tupac. Well, this has been Nicknames Movies, where the cinema love never stops. Please make sure to check us out on Twitter at fullmetal_Z and twitter.com/NicksUnderFire. And make sure to visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/NicknamesMovies, if you'd like to donate. And if not, we're also on YouTube. So, YouTube. Thanks for listening, guys.